The next woman that I'd love to introduce, her name is Ebony Swank. She is the founder and CEO of Swank a Posh, a woman's clothing boutique that she launched in 2009. She quit her job with little to no knowledge of what a target audience was. Briefly after launching her store, it failed. We're going to learn about this one, Ebony. Ebony had to go back to the drawing board. She's now mastered her target customer, invested her last $12,000 into a new store in a different location that has now grown into an 8-figure establishment. Monthly, this woman is making 7 figures a month. Swank has been featured in Forbes, Business Deacon, Rolling Out, Black Enterprise, and countless other publications. This woman is the one to listen to. Ebony Swank, it's so good to have you here.
Thank you for having me, Rhonda.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm amazing.
You look good.
After 4 days, the voice is getting a little rougher. I'm getting a little sassier,
Okay.
but we're doing
A little
good.
bit more comfortable, right?
Yeah, we're a lot more comfortable. This has become my throne. Darling,
Yeah.
I love what you do. I love what you've created with Swank and Posh, and the empowerment that you're giving to the women that are in your community. So what was it though? Why did you start with women's clothing? Like, how did this become?
Well, of course, I don't have to bore you with the beginning of the story, but I did see a hole in the market when it came to almost like women felt like they needed to be perfect because of the social media influence that it gives women and everyone. I'm not knocking plastic surgery, but everyone felt like they needed to start doing things to their face when selfie first came. And then everyone felt as if they needed to change their body, which is cool. Nothing wrong with that. But where's the space at for women that needs to feel comfortable about who they are? And I started to target those women and let them know with jeans and different outfits and you could just be yourself. So basically, that's how I was able to get their attention.
Well, you have the coolest audience and community. Like, your women, they rock it. I absolutely love it. I'm like, because you're right. Like, back in the day, Ebony, I just actually revealed to everyone I had implants when I was 23 because of all these things I thought I needed to be and all that. I was trying to show up for people. And I recently removed them because I'm like, this is an identity I don't need anymore.
Right.
And
women, I've been hearing that too. Yeah.
Right. And women today, it's like, empower yourself to love yourself.
Yeah. So I have a couple of different influencers that I go after. I look for women that has a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that even with my family members you would think that doesn't necessarily have the perfect shape has now been influenced by some of the actual influencers that I actually house. So I'm like, wow, this is like amazing. She's being influenced by the people that are actually on my platform. And that's great because you can walk in your own skin, in your own body, just be who you are. So I think it's amazing with the message that we actually give to everyone. Just basically, just be yourself. It's okay. And I noticed that I can't say that I started this trend, but I'm starting to see other brands not have such the perfect model anymore, which makes sense,
Come on, we're not all Barbies.
Exactly. So, with that, it's like, how can I envision myself in this outfit, these jeans, this top? I want to look nice on a date night, hanging out with girlfriends, anything in a swimsuit. And if you dare to put on a 2-piece, then so be it, if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, I love it. And it is so empowering because, look, the world, we are not just plastic and we are not perfect. We are actually perfect in our own way because society has told us that we need to be a certain way. And that's just not the truth, right? And I also hope that this message gets through to some of these, these influencers and the Instagram girls that fake up their body in order to be accepted. And that's just not how it should be. I don't want my daughter to follow that. I thank you. I thank you for that. For really showing that up. So let's just talk about it because obviously today's about diversity and women and what we've gone through as business owners. And, I think a big question for all of us is, have you in building your business, have you ever felt like discriminated by your color, by being a woman? And, how have you handled that? Because I think it's a big conversation.
Well, it is definitely a big conversation. And It's one that needs to be talked about because at the end of the day, a woman really wants to be a woman.
Yeah.
Okay. But sometimes you really just have to stand up. But I kind of use it to my advantage sometimes. As an example, I walked into a vendor and I wanted to place an order for about 500 pieces. And they told me no. They said, no, we're not going to make that style for you. That's it. So I have a buyer who's a different nationality than I am. And he's a man and he's tall, different color. And I said, hey, I just went in there and they told me that they wouldn't do this for me. How about you go in there and you ask them for the same thing? And lo and behold.
No way.
They wrote the order. I'm not kidding. It was less than 5 minutes. And I'm like, this is unbelievable. Like I've experienced some things in my career, but that was just like a slap in the face. But I knew from there, sometimes I just take advantage of it. You know, in this business, you have to be able to take advantage of some things, okay? But also when I go home and I'm a mom, but I'm also a wife. So I pipe down because you don't want to be in charge all the time when we have so much staff and you're dealing with so many different contractors and people trying to get a hold of your revenue or they want to try to buy out your business. You know how that goes, right?
Oh my goodness, yeah.
So as a woman, you got to stand up for yourself. But sometimes I don't mind taking advantage of when I need an opportunity or when I go home and I just want to be a wife.
Well, I think I love that. And, it's true. It's like, this is where being, balanced as well as a woman, because I even revealed this, and I think you might maybe understand this too. It's like, I was like super hardcore and I was so navigating all the time on my masculine that I wasn't able to take that break. And I was finding myself burned out. But I know like for you, you're kind of like that pit bull though for your business, and
yeah, no, I was just going to say you have to. We actually had an instance today where a guy, he was trying to get my business, and
really,
he was super impressed. Yeah, he was super impressed, but he couldn't help but to try and find ways to insult me. And I can't believe you're doing this. Are you really making this much money? It was because you had to expose how many orders you had. And then he would ask me questions about my average order value and how many, but these are normal questions too.
Yeah.
How many orders are we getting per month and averaging, et cetera. And of course I'm spitting it off because yes, I'm a woman and I'm Black and I'm standing tall with, I know what I'm doing and with confidence. Okay. And it was just like because he had somewhat of a retail business too. So he was impressed, but also tried to continue to come back with a way of being discouraging and trying to make me feel and belittle me, basically.
Yeah. Well, because they don't believe. See, this is the magic, though, right? Like we know, like this is the feminine magic when the men, or not just men, but other women are looking from the side. Like, how are they doing it? How are they doing it? There's no way they could be doing that. It's like, right. So what do you think that goes on within you? Like, what is your superpower that you think, that why your audience absolutely loves Pasha Swank or Swankaposh, and they can't get enough of your brand. I mean, I know this woman, you're making more than 7+ figures a month. Like, people need to get this. Like, she's very humbled. But that's what I mean. Like, everyone's on the side like, I'm not sure that's true. Like, so how do you deal with that? Because where do you think it comes from?
It really just comes within. And I lost my mom a few years ago. And me and my mom had some struggles throughout my life because, of course, you don't listen to everything. You always think your mom is coming down on you. But as I sit back and thought about today, God, why did you pick me? Why did you pick me? And I thought about the humbleness that I received from my mother and the strong woman that I became because of my mother. So it's where did you get this skill from? How do you know? It basically was because of the way that I was raised. My mom, she was single. She had to work. So I had to take care of me and my brother while she was working. And that basically was giving me skill. But how did you get so much courage? I was thinking, I literally was like killing myself on my own thoughts today. And it really was because my mom was strong. My mama was strong. And my mama raised a strong woman that I am today. So this is why I'm able to be and have a great relationship with my kids and try to give them what I can give them. And I'm a mentor to so many other young girls to make sure that I change their lives and tell them the importance of finance and credit and all of those different things.
Yeah.
And I'm able to run my staff, whether they like me or not. I'm not going to change who I am. This is what got us where we are today. And even with that, I make sure that I take care of all of them, you know?
Yeah.
So that's really important to me. I'm not sure if I answered your question.
No, of course. I love it.
Okay.
No, I love it, babe.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's true. Like, there is a certain state, like, you know, even my company, right? I've got, 50, 60 employees, and there's just times where what I say may not be what you want to hear.
Yeah.
However, like, we're energetically aligned, and if, as long as we're on that same mission, then there's going to be some things you may not like, but just know that I love you, right? And I think that's a big piece, and that's where mission driven and enrolling people in your message is where they just say yes. So I would like to ask you this question, because that's such a good question. People ask me this. What would you say to your younger self that, like, what you know now, what would you say to your younger self?
Well, I would say good job at doing all of the things that you did. Just basically continue to grow and empower yourself and all the people around you. And when you look back at my life as my younger self, that's exactly what I was doing in my younger 20s as a teenager, just continuing to encourage people, show them the ropes, even when I didn't have anything, just really just helping others. So good job, Ebony.
Yeah, I love that.
This past year, as we found ourselves closed off from the world and from each other, a book was being written by a small group of wild women. That book inspired the manifesto that gave birth to a movement. Imagine an emotionally charged letter of gratitude from one struggling anonymous woman to another anonymous woman who'd mentored her and awakened the wildness within her without even realizing it. One wild woman awakening another wild woman, inspiring her to believe when she'd almost given up, to let loose her wildness and step into her true power. Being a wild woman means to lead fearless, to love fearless, to live fearless, to be kind, thoughtful, driven, and balanced, to embrace honest wealth, to trust our intuition, to develop true leadership, and to welcome diversity. We are women gone wild. Come be wild with us.